What's up, y'all? It's me, Celia Marie 1243, your fairy tarot sister. Today I'm gonna do something different that I have not done before. I'm doing a mukbang. We've been talking about this for a while, but it's finally happening. So, not me still putting things away while I'm trying to film the video. Okay, anyway, so today's story time, mukbang, whatever, is gonna be about some of these spirits that have been visiting me. So if you guys follow me on TikTok and you've seen me on live, you guys probably already know that I have found out that I'm a medium. Like, surprise, shoddy. Which is cool. Like, I guess I didn't really understand what that meant until recently. So I'm trying to embrace all of these things, and there's a lot of new experiences that I've gone through, so I'm gonna start vlogging about it so that I can keep track. I've been journaling about it. My guides really want me to journal about it, but I also want to have it like video documentation just to look back on, and so that I can share it with you guys. So on the menu today, actually let me light this candle. Light this candle. It smells so good. I really wish that you guys could smell it. It's something lava, something. Actually, I'm gonna only light one. Two is just a little bit aggressive, right? It's red lava citrus, which is tropical fruits, sugared citrus burst with hints of bright red currant, which I'm loving that for my aesthetic actually. And then it also smells delicious. So this video isn't sponsored, so I'm not telling you where I got it. But it's like a main convenience store. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. So, this is my food that I'm getting into today. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm going to tell you about two of the recent encounters that I've had with some spirits that came to me. However long that takes. This is poke. I don't know if y'all know what poke is, but it is raw fish, honey. I live in Hawaii, for those of you guys who don't know. And raw fish is like a delicious food that we're always eating here. It is tasty and delicious. I don't even like cooked fish. I prefer raw fish. So, yeah. It's raw, cubed, delicious. I have California roll poke in here, and then spicy ahi. It's also covered in garlic, and I got avocados on the side, which I'm very excited for. It's over brown rice. So let's get into the story now. Like I said, I'm not very adept at mediumship right now. The way that I found out that I was a medium is through doing tarot. That's a whole nother video that I'll probably do a story time on as well. But I found out that I was a medium through doing tarot because people's ancestors, like people who have passed away, will just randomly come through. And I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? But I didn't realize, too, that being a medium included them also just barging into my house. I did, actually, because some of you guys have seen that on my live, before I started getting more followers. But it's happening a lot more now. So, alright. So, the first story. Marianne. So, the story with Marianne is... One day, I was in bed. I had just barely woken up. And you guys know that filter on TikTok where it shows you, if there's energies or whatever. People are like, oh yeah, you can see spirits with this, whatever. Low-key, I see spirits in here with that all the time. And sometimes I'll just wipe it across my thing just to see, where they at, what they doing. A lot of times they'll be right next to me and I don't even know it, which is pretty interesting. And that's what happened with Marianne. So, Marianne, I was on my phone, I was on TikTok, I was scrolling through early in the morning, still not all the way awake, and I used that little filter and I was like swiping around my room, you know, like I was half joking, half just trying to see whatever. And then it was flipped around, right? So it wasn't facing me, it was flipped around, and then there was energy right there. Like it wasn't by where I was at, it was just there. And I was like, oh, and then I started to feel something, and I was like, when I get, you know, when I feel presences, I get chills. So I had chills, and I was like, oh, hi, is this a spirit? Like, are you wanting to talk? And so I closed my eyes, and I was like, so what is your name? And she said her name was Marianne. The way that my gifts work, I don't know how about other people, but the way that mine works, I'm really, really clairvoyant. That's probably my strongest one. So she shows me through words. It's like seeing the name Marianne typed out on a piece of paper in my mind's eye, right? So I'm not physically seeing it there. She types it there. I don't physically see her there. And mind you, did I mention I was laying in bed? So she's just sitting there laying in bed. Like, I guess Marianne's a cuddly spirit. I wasn't scared just because this has happened to me enough times now where I'm not scared of those things. For anybody who is scared when that kind of stuff happens, like, it does take some getting used to. But I would also say it's really important to distinguish between something being bad and something being unfamiliar. And by something, I mean an energy or a spirit, an entity, whatever you call it. So, anyways, Marianne, and so it was really interesting because I was like, okay, like, can you show me what you look like? And so I closed my eyes. She showed me what she looked like. She was a cute older woman. She, you know, she had shorter hair. I could see like the build of like her body, and she was sitting on a couch. Really cute, sweet little lady, but she just showed me her sitting on a couch, just chilling. And I was just like, okay, all right, Marianne, I see you. And I was kind of confused because like I said, I'm new to this. I don't really know what it is she's here for or whatever. So I'm like, okay. And then she had told me a couple of other things, I think. Like, and by told, I mean she shows me, right? So like I said, she showed me a picture of her. It's not a picture. It's almost like a movie. So she showed me her sitting on a couch. And so I got on live later, and I was asking people, I'm like, hey, does anybody know a Marianne, blah, 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 you know, she's passed away, she is a white lady, like, I think there's like a black person, and they were like, yeah, I know Marianne. I'm like, no, I don't think so. It could be, you know, no discrimination, but it could be. So, actually somebody, I'm not going to say her name just to protect her privacy, but, those of you guys who were there will know. But she claimed her, and she was like, oh, wait, I think, you know, this might be me. Like, what did she say and whatever? So I was like, well, let me see if I can channel her now. And so I invited Marianne back. I don't know if it's that she never left or what. I always have spirits just hanging around in my house. You get used to it, whatever. I read tarot. You know, I'm a medium at this point, so it's fine. It's fine. So I closed my eyes. I started to channel in. I'm like, okay, Marianne, like, are you here? She gave me the confirmation. I asked her what she needed to tell me. And so she didn't tell me in words, even though I am clairaudient, and sometimes I will hear voices. Like, sometimes I'll do videos. Sometimes when I'm doing like TikTok videos or on live, or when I'm reading, I will hear voices in my head, and I know that might sound a little scary to people, or people might be like, okay, this girl's hearing voices, but listen, it's okay. It's a safe space. It's alright. So she shows me a pool. She shows me a pool, and so I was just describing what I was seeing, and there was a cat. She was focused on a cat that was by a pool. It was a gray and white cat, and it was just chilling by the pool, walking around. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm describing it to the people who are on TikTok, and the girl who, you know, claims Marianne might know her, and she was like, yeah, Marianne had a cat. And I'm like, okay, all right, well, we're going somewhere. And next to the pool, there were like yellow flowers. I was explaining that, and the person was like, yeah, she had yellow flowers, like, she loved yellow flowers, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, yeah, and there's a pool, like, I'm not sure why she's showing me a pool. And she was like, oh, Marianne, that's how she died. She drowned. And I was like, oh, okay. But so what I'm trying to gather, I think what I've gathered from that is like, I think I've looked into it a little bit. I still need to do more research, obviously, brand new, but they call that like evidential mediumship, where the spirit will just show you things or tell you things so that you can relate that back to whatever the client like knows them from. You know what I mean? Because sometimes if you guys have had a personal reading with me and we've connected with like an ancestor, I've connected people with their grandparents who they've never met, or fathers who passed away, and like sometimes they just come through, like they just want to come through. So that's really interesting. How do people do this? How do people eat and talk without like being rude? Because like I definitely eat and like talk all the time, but I just feel like it's not a cute thing to do on camera. I'm trying to ask myself in my head, do I care? Asking my guides, do I care? They said we don't care. Well, okay, whatever. Anyways, so that was really interesting. The fact that spirits are literally just laying in my bed. Very interesting. I still haven't talked to that person again to kind of like see what that might do or what that might mean for her. But I think she was saying something about spending time with her little cousin, because there were more clues later that kind of led us to believe. So in my tarot readings, a lot of times I will use these cards. A lot of you guys are familiar with these. This is my fortune cookie deck. Fortune cookies. Me and my friend call them fortune cookies, but they're tea leaf fortune cards. My best friend Patrice got them for me, and I learned about them from my sister Savali. So they're really good. There's 180 cards, and they have different messages on them. This is what they look like. And there's 180 cards. So some of the cards are like kind of good. Some of the cards ain't that good. So I think people like those because they really do be spilling the tea. Let me know if you guys want more reads with those, because I will definitely. I'll definitely do those. They always want to speak. You guys know when I'm shuffling them, especially, I don't know if it's the shape or what. Like, they are always coming out. Not me seeing orbs. That's the thing too. Since I kind of got more into my mediumship as well, like I'm seeing orbs all the time. There's always ringing in my ears. All kinds of stuff. Which I'm just starting to get used to. I feel like this is probably just going to be a way of life at this point. But, where were we? Yes, Marianne. Marianne, very sweet old lady. And it's interesting too, because like I told you guys before in some previous videos, I have all of the clairs. But some are just stronger than others. But I've been developing the other ones more. So my clairsentience, I could definitely feel, like I could feel her demeanor, if that makes sense. I could see that she's, she seemed very, very sweet. There was almost a kind of like, I don't want to say desperation, but it seemed like she was worried about something when she reached out to me. That's why I was so concerned with connecting her with whoever she needed to be connected to. And that's the same as the next story that I'm going to tell too. His was a little more chill, but I still feel like he needed to say something. So, oh, that was good. You guys, I really wish you guys could taste this, because it smacks. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, can we just... Anyways, Marianne, yeah. She showed me, like, a little girl in a red bathing suit, and I had asked the girl who was, claiming Marianne, I'm like, do you know, like, did you have a red bathing suit or whatever? And she's like, yeah, I did. And I was like, yeah, it's a one piece. I was describing it. For some reason, I couldn't see the front of the little girl. I could just see the back. But she was by the pool, and she was wearing the little bathing suit, and she was just standing there. But I think she was doing that in order to relate the message. Like, you know, that was something that she could, like, it doesn't make sense to me, but it makes sense to the person. So it's up to me to use my intuition to decipher, like, okay, is this something I'm just making up in my head, or is this something that actually, you know, is happening? Which 9 times out of 10, it's something that's happening, or almost 10 times out of 10, really. And then I might just be interpreting it wrong, or the person may interpret it wrong as well. Not a perfect science, because they're not directly talking to me. They're not saying, hey, Celia, tell this person that such and such and such. But I think it was something about her little cousin, because Marianne had also showed me yellow and purple. I get flashes of color sometimes. Sometimes when I'm reading you guys on live or whatever, I'll get certain flashes of color. And I'm not necessarily, I don't see auras all the time, but I think usually what that is for some reason I can see people's, like, chakras that are off, like, that need attention, maybe. Yeah, my guide's like, yeah, that's what it is. I'm like, okay. So that's pretty cool, but I wasn't really sure. It didn't seem like that in this moment, and that's why it's important to follow your intuition, because just because something is how you've always known it doesn't mean that's always how it's going to be. So apparently that was like, she was like, oh yeah, that means that because this is her favorite colors or whatever. And then I think it's important as a medium too, even though I'm like a baby medium. I guess my advice to people who are baby mediums and like reading for people is like, just give them whatever you're getting and let them interpret it, even if it doesn't make sense. Because I've had that a lot of times in my tarot readings where I'll bring out stuff, especially from this deck, and I'll be like, you know, what, something about a butterfly, and they're like, no, and then they message me a couple of days later and they're like, oh, I found out what you meant about the butterfly, like, she used to have this butterfly hair clip and blah blah blah, or whatever, you know. So it really just depends. And so it's really up to you to decipher your intuition. Okay, so that was Marianne. Very sweet. Hopefully that person contacts me, or I talk to her again on live, so that we can figure out whatever it is that needs to be figured out there. Next, we have Jerry. Jerry, he was a pal. He seemed really nice as well. But the story with Jerry is, I did put a short version of this on TikTok if you guys haven't seen that. But the thing with Jerry, he came to me at, I would say, an inopportune time. But what I'm learning from my guides, ooh, and now I have ringing in my ears. Are you here now, Jerry? That would be interesting if he just wanted to like pop in, like, oh, you want to talk about me? Here, I'm right here. Interesting. So Jerry came to me. I was watching a movie on my iPad. I feel like when you start to go through levels of ascension, things that resonated with you once won't anymore, if that makes sense. Like, I barely ever want to watch TV or do that kind of thing. Listen to certain music. I just don't want to do it anymore. I just think because it doesn't vibrationally resonate with me anymore. But I just wanted to be like normal, if that made sense. Like, I'm always talking to spirits and doing tarot and whatever, but I always tell you guys how important it is to make sure that your energy is grounded. So, you know, I just wanted to be a normal person. Like, can I just be a human being real quick? Even though we are infinite light beings, we are currently in this, you know, flesh suit. So I was just like, can I just chill? Like, I asked my guides, I was like, hey guys, I'm trying to watch this movie, because I was getting downloads the whole movie. Granted, it was a movie that was probably related to some kind of download I still need to have because I did not finish it. It was Divergent, the movie, which I really feel like is just a big, that's basically really what our experience on Earth is. If you guys know what movie that is, you'll understand. One of my favorite movies, by the way, too. Really good one. I've watched it so many times. But I feel like after I've awakened again, like reached a new level of awakening, I feel like there might be something else that I'm missing that I need to see in it and relate back to my own experience in some way. So that'll happen too, by the way. Like sometimes you guys will get a download at one time and it won't make any damn sense. Like it's certain angel number or whatever, and you're like, I don't know what that means. Just acknowledge it, because it'll maybe make sense later. So I was watching Divergent and I kept getting all of these angel numbers and all of these downloads and stuff, and I just told my guys, I'm like, can we just chill? I don't want to have to do all that. And they really just sat there and looked at me, and I'm just like, guys, please, can we just? And they're like, okay, whatever. And so like 5 minutes in, like I noticed, I'm like, okay, cool, like I'm able to just watch this. I'm able to just watch this movie without it being, weird, without me feeling like I'm the freaking weird crystal girl who's always seeing angel numbers and getting downloads and meeting spirits. And then my lights start flashing. And I'm like, I tried to ignore it, and I'm like, okay, it's fine, whatever. I'm watching my movie. And then the lights keep flashing again, and I'm like, oh. And I'm like, okay, that's rude. If this is a person, all right, let's just talk to them. I'm like, oh, hi. I put on my customer service voice. Like, okay, hi, hello, spirit. Like, what's up? Like, they couldn't just see me go, ugh, before, right? So I'm like, hi, what's up? And he shows me his face. Good looking guy, honestly. He was a little bit older, maybe, I don't know, 50s, but he seemed like in shape-ish, kind of slimish. He had a nice like face structure. He had like salt and pepper hair, thick black glasses. They were kind of squarish. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like I see you, I feel you here, like what's your name? And he's like, oh, hi, I'm Jerry. I'm like, okay, hi Jerry, what's up? And then he started just unloading everything. He showed me, I'm not even gonna lie, broccoli, and I still haven't even looked those up because I'm still just trying to figure out who Jerry belongs to first before I try to decode those messages, right? Maybe me decoding the messages will lead me to who it is. I didn't even think of that till now. See? Anyway, so he was just giving me, I closed my eyes and he gave me a whole bunch of random stuff. I'm like, well, shoot, I'll just take it. He gave me it was like broccoli. I saw a forest at one point. There was something else. He gave me some names. Sue, Brenda, Emily. If this story is making any sense to you and you feel like Jerry might belong to you, this is a past man. It's a white man, just so you guys know. DM me on Instagram. A couple of people already have, thinking that Jerry might be their Jerry, so I don't know. Hopefully we find his people and get them whatever they need. But yeah, so he's just showing me broccoli. The broccoli thing kind of threw me off though, because I was like, and I feel like without looking it up, without looking up the symbolism of it, I feel like it might represent something about health and like strength. He might be trying to be around somebody and trying to encourage them. Or, maybe encouraging somebody to eat more fruit, healthy foods. I don't know, child. I'll let y'all know when I know. But yeah, so he was showing me all that, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'll try and, get your message to whoever. Like, I was going to do it the same way I did with Marianne. I was like, I'll go live. I wasn't going to do it then because I was trying to watch my movie. And then he, just sat there and he was looking at me, and I could see him. Sometimes I will see them. And he was folding his arms. This is something that my guides do to me a lot. He was folding his arms and he was tapping his feet. Like, he was waiting for me to do something. And I'm like, you want me to go live right now? I'm not going to do that. And he's like, write it down. He showed me myself. Like, it was almost like I was taken out of my own body, and I could see myself writing down, actually, in this journal that I use for everything. I saw myself writing it down. I'm like, oh, you want me to write it down? And he starts nodding aggressively. And I'm just like, okay. So I wrote it down in here. My guides are like, yeah, hurry up. And I'm like, okay, don't get me started with y'all, because I literally wanted to just watch my movie. And y'all have people popping in here. Because the thing is, you can definitely block, you can create a space and your boundaries. Just like with people, you can create them with spirits as well, where you can just say like, you know, nobody is entering at this time. Obviously, I'm still just a baby at this, and I'm trying to figure out how that works, especially with my guides. We need to be on the same page, okay? We need to like get it together. But yeah, so I don't know. There's been some other really interesting stories. If you guys want to hear those, let me know. If anybody has had similar experiences, or if anybody else is a medium and you have some tips or anything for me, I would love that. So let me know. It was really interesting. I have so many more interesting stories, tips, things that I've learned about talking to people's spirit guides. So whatever your questions and stuff that you guys have, let me know. I'm more than happy to share most things, because some things I feel like are a little bit sensitive to either me or the people. But other than that, excited to share everything and kind of just document and see where the rest of this journey takes me. Hopefully that was entertaining, interesting in some kind of way. I don't know. Was I not eating my food enough? I don't know how mukbangs work. I guess I watch them, but I don't really pay attention to like them actually eating. I don't know. Go easy on me. It's my first time. But looking forward to making a lot more content like this. I've always wanted to kind of like do social media stuff, so I'm really excited that you guys are all here and I can document this journey and the things that I learn along the way and share with you guys. So like, share, comment, subscribe, all them things. If this was interesting, if you want to see more, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.